Hello, how are we? Ladies and gents, how are we doing? So, I thought I'd get things started to allow some people to join. As you are joining, hello there, Hebert. Sorry, I don't know how to read that. We're going to start in like 3 or 4 minutes time. We'll wait for Nicholas to join us, and then I'll add him into the chat and we'll go from there. Yo!
Joe!
Yay! We have sound. Woo! Fantastic. So it's worked, finally. We managed to get online.
Is it true? Last time we couldn't, right?
Man, what a mission that I've had trying to set this up so that I can hear you, hear me, and fucking everything else. So anyway, perfect now. Thank you, Petty G. Let me just angle this down a bit. Cool. So before we get started, Nicholas, there is obviously a lot of people joining, and if you see any questions pop up, feel free to stop and answer them.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll just go from there.
Okay.
So basically, for those who are joining us, for those who don't know Nicholas, where the fuck have you been this whole time? For those who don't know me, welcome to our little live stream. Nicholas, Nicholas, introduce yourself to the people and give us a bit of background.
Well, I've been in the industry competing since 2000. So, but I stopped 5 years later, 2000, including 2004, I retired, but still until now. So 20 years in the industry, showing my face, and prior to this, maybe 3 and 4 years more practicing. So wow. 24 years in the industry, and yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. I mean, Nicholas doesn't sing his own praises. You don't sing your own praises enough. But I mean, for someone who you had quite a short competing career, and you know, you made a massive name for yourself during that period, and we'll obviously get down to why that is soon. But a bit of background from me about our relationship. I first saw you compete in the Roadhouse World Finals. You've heard this story before. In the Roadhouse World Finals in the year 2000, where you got second. And we all know what happened there. Sorry, Steve Smith, but you shouldn't have won it. And I remember watching that when I was 18 years old and seeing this competition, and obviously seeing that the other people like Steve Smith, Fabio Milani, Francesco Leoni, Stefan Notteboom, and obviously you stood out heads and tails above the rest. You know, you were years ahead of people during that period. And, you know, it definitely fueled me to push my flair a lot more and want to compete in that competition. So, you know, thank you from my side for that. And, you know, you've since then, you've definitely been, you know, top of your game since whenever you started. So when did you actually start flaring? When was the moment where you were like, wow, that's really cool, I want to do that?
Very classic answer, cliche. I saw the movie Cocktail. I was a little Frenchman. Although I loved the lifestyle. And then I was like, yeah, it looks like the best job where you don't feel you're working and having a good time. So really attracted me. And I was quite shy. So it really helped me to like get confidence. And I mean, everything was linked with it. I mean, with itself. I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
As a living, something new, something that never existed before. And at the time, Flair wasn't yet known in this modern world we're living in. So it came out with the movie Cocktail, but it's never been pushed as a real thing. So yeah. I saw an opportunity, and I thought it was a win-win situation, because if you don't make it, you're still a better bartender than the next guy next to you. So you make more money. And I was thinking, if you make it, you'll be that guy drinking the mojitos. And
Nice.
the friend to make the cocktail. So I thought it was a win-win situation, and it was really attracting the fact. One day I was behind the bar and I look at the object. I was like, a glass bottle shape, a shaker, metallic, different. I was like, wow, this is so dangerous, so unique. And the fact that it can entertain at the same time, I was like, yeah, this is so for me. It was all about creating. So I was like, wow, this is so for me.
What year was this?
96.
96. And then, and was that in France? Were you working on a bar in France?
Never worked in France. This in France was even out of the question that it would be cool. People would look at you like, what the hell are you doing? So I had to go to UK. I went to London. And my school is totally from London. Like, I even represented the UK in Las Vegas, as you know. So yeah. my Flair culture is definitely from UK, inspired from UK. But so yeah, 96, and now I started as a waiter for 6 months, then a bar back, 6 months. Then I worked in the bar for 6 months as a bartender, as a, you know, like those snooker places that open 24/7. Yeah. 3 shift, and I would work in the slowest shift, so it would give me time to speak better English and then to make stupid cocktails and sandwiches at the same time. And then after I went to the O bar in Warner Street, and I saw all those guys flaring, and I was like, wow, this is just like crazy. Like the feeling they were giving. And I remember I got shocked when I saw a specific move. I was sitting at the bar, like, you know, when you just go to the bartender, you don't know how to flare, and you're like, okay, what's going on? You just want to see, but not be seen, you know?
Yeah.
And then the bartender was making a shot to this chick, and he came with the bottle out of the speed rail, and he did a double flip, and he caught it on top of the shot, you know? Which is nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But when he did it, I was so amazed that the bottle didn't go over.
He caught it right.
Yeah, that he really knew it that good that he could control glass from breaking by catch. I was so impressed. A single move like this. And so I went to the bar manager, and I lied. I said I used to be a bartender before in a bar in Paris, and but I was doing only like non-alcoholic cocktails, so I have to learn. But he gave me a shot. And then I worked there, and I had the chance to work with Steve Locke, which was the world champion in tandem, with Lee Miller back in the days. I used to work also with Risfield, also owner of the beer one.
Sure.
So yeah, it was quite intense. Yeah. It took me 6 months to realize that I was going to make this my job, and yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what a start. I mean, those names you named already, for those who are in the UK, will know them, like you just said, from the Be at One chain, and they started that up and sold it last year and made a nice pocket. But just before we go any further, for those who are here, this is going to be a long chat, and some of the stuff we're going to go through is what Flair means to NICOLAS, what, you know, competitions, your views on that, the bottle tin is king scenario, some of your favorite bartenders, moves, creativity, originality. So stick around, and if you do have questions, please put them in there. If we don't see them, we'll try and get to them. So much goodness on the screen. Exact same thing for same hand for stall for me. Somebody's resting. Yeah, exactly. So as I said, if you do want to ask a question, you can try and put it on the screen. But if you do put it on the Facebook post I put out yesterday, it's going to be easier for me to see it here. But anyway, let's go onwards. So you started in O-Bar, I guess then, and then from there, so that's 1996, 97,
yeah.
And then. What happened? I mean, what was the journey in terms of, did you start competing? Was it practice? Did somebody teach you? Who was your inspiration?
My inspiration was Lee Miller, who was 3 times world champion. My motivation was based on little sentences that I would overhear. They're talking about Flair, about bartending. Like, for example, I remember somebody was watching this tape, Total Bowl, Lee Miller competition in 1995, called The Five, which was held in Manchester. And Lee Miller was doing this trick with 2 glasses of wine filled up with frozen drinks, and one over the shoulder, the other one over the hand. It was very impressive at the time. And I remember the bar manager was sitting like this on his chair. And it was like, dude, this guy is, I remember he said, this guy is born with a bottle.
He's what?
This guy was born with a bottle.
Wow.
Right? So it's a little shit, a little detail like this, right? But I was thinking like, wow, you made that guy believe that you had talent.
Sure.
Good on you. I was like, wow, this is the result of your hard work. Someone said this about you, that you have it in the blood. And I remember all those details. I remember also motivation-wise, I remember what motivated me was the goal, the objective, right? And that goal changed back and forward in time. But my goal back in the days, I just wanted to be the best because I wanted to be remembered on Earth after having lived for some reason.
Sure.
So I wanted to be the best ever. In my head, it was just like, I just want to be the best. I don't want anybody to have any doubts about it and stuff. So this is how I practiced for competitions.
Sure.
And then as I got into competition, and I remember this guy said to me when I was working in the OBA, he said to me, Paul Mason was also at the beginning of the biathlon. And I said to him, like, Paul, how do you do it? I said, like, when I see you in practice, you're like, you drop a lot. When I see you behind the bar, like, you don't drop. I said, how do you do it? And he said to me in a little cocky way, he said, you know, NICOLAS, some people are just better under pressure. And I was like, what do you mean? He said to me, well, some people, if you see them in their bedrooms, they are world champions, all of them.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put them on stage, some people lose 50% of their capacities, potential. And I was like, that totally compromised my plan because I want to be the best ever. And what if I practice for nothing? What if as soon as I go on stage, I lose 50% of my capacity and I lose? So I had to set up my brain to solve that problem. And I was like, hey, that's it. I need to be that good that even at 50%, I'll beat you when you're at 100.
Exactly.
So even if that goal seemed to be impossible, I was like, it is possible in the equation. So I just need to put the work into it.
Sure.
So even if you're terrible on the day, you win. And as I was going into competition over the years, I realized that Flair wasn't going the right direction. And that this is really like about people's opinion. This is just my opinion. And I didn't relate anymore with Flair as I was competing. And therefore, I prefer to concentrate my efforts to understand why that was. And I realized that it's because when I was competing, I wasn't interested anymore in competing because I realized the problem wasn't to win anymore. It was to define Flair. Because Flair became, out of a mediatic, fashionable thing, very fast growing, and people embraced it so fast that they forgot about the most essential of all, which is, what is Flair?
Good question.
Right?
Exactly.
And the reason why we are still on it today, and we see a lot of people discussing it, is because it hasn't been defined yet. So you could look at Flair and say, it is obvious that that's not juggling. It is obvious that it's not another type of art or anything else. We haven't made it obvious. We haven't defined what Flair is today.
So what is Now, okay, before you go and answer this question,
Yeah.
I asked this to Jumbles in January. I know you had a chat with Jumbles in Malaga a couple of years ago. And we discussed, or he gave his definition of what flair is. And his was, we went away from bartending and just discussed flair. So it's interesting to know what for you is flair, and is that the same as flair bartending? If you know what I mean. Do you understand? Because you can have flair in getting dressed, or you can have flair in making pancakes, for example.
I think his definition was on point. I saw the video. I think it was on point. I think it's exactly this. If you take it to the general opinion, meaning you could apply to any specific art. I think that was on point. Knowing that this is a little extra that makes it special. The dexterity, the 10,000 hours, as he was speaking, which I also know about. But the problem is in flair, to define it, is to understand what we love about it. And not try to take it out of its place to make it greater. The problem, it will always be there. The problem is that, look, I left competition. You need to know what happened. People need to know what happened. I wasn't always liked being on top for a certain period of time. It is obvious. I don't know who could testify on this, but I remember when I did my first competition in March 2000 in the Roadhouse, I had to ask Lee Miller to get me a spot. I couldn't enter the competition.
I've heard
this is long time ago, but this is good for history as there's a lot of people maybe that will be watching this. So I was French. I came in with a lot of arrogance. I had a lot of confidence. I knew exactly how good I was. This is the thing. And I wasn't shy about it. And I really wanted to put this mental pressure on every competitor. And I did. And the Roadhouse had a plan to have a winner different each month, to have a big winner at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I was winning all the competitions. And then when they started to make me lose, and they took me at the back and they explained to me, like, look, you cannot compete more than 3 times in a row. This is only because I was winning. But my pleasure was to win. I said, look, if it's a problem of money, give me the price of the third. I don't care. I just want to have number one. That's it. If I deserve only, I want to have number one. So I started to make a petition and to handle it. Wow, that went down very bad. You know, so let's face it, I didn't have the best relationship with Roadhouse. It was really, really tough for me to win in Roadhouse, even though I was bringing a lot of innovative moves. But nevertheless, it is the competition to win if you want to pretend to be the best. So
let's just, I've got a couple of questions here. You talk about Roadhouse and competitions.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of questions. I'll try and sort of go along the journey that we've got going on, and we'll get to the more juicy stuff a bit later. But what is, in competition-wise, what is your favorite? Over the years of you competing, and maybe even after you stopped competing, maybe you saw some which looked pretty good. For you, competition, what was your favorite, and why, and you know, what's the best one to win?
I think it would be Christian, and because it lasted for years, more than Yos, even though Yos has a huge satisfaction because it was.
Hang on, sorry, one second. I was saying the best competition. Oh, the best competition for you was Christian.
No, I would say I was thinking about the best competitor.
Ah, sorry. Okay, let's go down that. So for you,
the best competitor. It was you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay. The best competitor was Christian because Christian was using lots of my moves in working flair, something that I didn't have the opportunity to do. I wasn't working in a working flair bar. And he was tackling every weaknesses that I had. So I was more into the creating side of Flair. I think Christian was more into the polishing side of Flair, and which make it a very nice feeling all around. So it was a big satisfaction every time in competition, because I knew I wasn't winning a juggler. I was winning a bartender with a skill that I didn't have. It was that to carry that full bottle so nice. So it was a challenge. Jos, I was saying Jos Malelak, which is the first guy that beat me in the world final, and which I went like, wow, totally deserved. And the year after in Dubai, that happened in Dubai when I won again, but he left after competition. Competition-wise, I've been asked this question before, and as I say, there is four. There's the one I lost in Dubai. There's the one I won in Roadhouse with the 2 glasses on the bar spoon. There's the one in Las Vegas, because that was Flair against juggling. And the last one, because that was my last one.
Which was the last one?
In Cortina, 2004.
Ah, yeah. We're going to get to King of the Ring, because that's just been surfing around the internet recently. Actually, fuck it, let's go there now. So, I mean, that's one of your last major, I mean, Fit 04 was the last one, right?
That's right.
And for those that don't know Fit 04, there's no recollection of it, because although it was a big comp, there was a big fuck up behind it as well. But King of the Ring, for those that don't know, there's a video, I think it's probably on your profile now, you can go and check it out. I mean, everyone says that that's your best routine. In my opinion, your best routine that I love to watch, and I've watched it 100 times or more, is Roadhouse 2000 World Finals.
Which
For
one?
me, that's the 2000 Roadhouse Grand Finals, 10 minutes.
Okay. I think it's
For
because
me,
also it was, you were 18 years old, you were in a crowd, you saw a big show, it had a good impact. It's always funny that it's funny that you say that, because I believe the best teachers don't teach shit, excuse my French. You just go in front of people, you just show, and from any angle that you see, everybody sees something different. And if you leave this as an inspiration for your students to watch, they can inspire differently from the same move, and this is how you enhance creativity. So I believe also being young, being in love, either with a woman or with something new, you have so much more neuron and bubble in your stomach that also is a big motivation. And I can imagine the effect to watch the world final competition in the little cave at the front like this with all the flash. It must be quite impressive.
but I still love it, man. I mean, like, I love your King of the Ring routine. Sorry to interrupt you. And Dutch Stu, just to go back, he asked about points for King of the Ring. It was 50% Flair, 50% entertainment, and we'll get to that in a second. Your King of the Ring routine was fantastic. But what I loved about the Roadhouse Grand Final one was there was a more fun NICOLAS on stage there. Like in the King of the Ring one, you knew you was gonna win. You knew you was gonna win.
But this is so funny you said that, and thank you for retracing it this way, because if you make a very like a childish metaphor about it, which I do sometimes, because it is true. Now I'm older and I can look back at it in a different way. But I was this young guy who came here. I was so naive. I was so willing. I was so passionate. And I would overgive all the time. And when I came to this competition final in 2000, my parents flew from Bordeaux. My brother was here. I knew I was going to win according to skills. It was a 10-minute routine at 9:50. I knew what Steve, with all due respect, could put on the table. But I didn't expect to lose, right? Especially winning it 5 times during the year. Anyway, and when I lost, yeah, it was like... It's like Darth Vader. The guy wants to become a Jedi, you tell him to fuck off. It's exactly what happened.
You know what?
I had so much to give to Flair. They took this away from me, and I went to Dubai. Then I won in Dubai. When I came back in 2000, I was wearing a black bandana. I had to put 2 bar spoons on this, 2 glasses on the bar spoon. I never been that focused in my whole career. Never been that focused. Maybe in Milan also in the show on the. But tell you the level of technicity and I have to bring to win the Roadhouse competition. But and that was extremely hard. 2003, come back, finish third, finish second. 2004, come back, finish second against the same guy, bringing so many more moves. I was like, something's up. So for me, 2000, the one I won in Roadhouse in 2002 was more powerful because it was so hard. It was so hard.
Yeah. The thing about the 2000 finals where you come second, in one way, it was like the best thing, in a weird way, it was kind of like the best thing to happen to you, the worst thing to happen to Flair. Because for me, it felt like, okay, you've just been put second, which, I mean, everybody watching, sorry, Steve, if you're watching this, everybody that's in the crowd knew that you should have won it. I'm sorry, Steve, but it's just the fact that it is. I mean, there's a lot of comps that's happened in that way before, but it kind of pushed you higher because of that. But at the same time, I mean, I didn't know you back then, and tell me if I'm wrong when I say this, but it felt like it also pushed you to be more secretive about what you have to give to Flair Bartending, your moves, your ideas, everything else.
I totally felt like misunderstood because I realized I was so in love, and still so in love with Flair. I was like, I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to make sure that everybody else see how much respect I have for them. I want to create my own moves. I don't want anybody to come and see and say, oh, what is this guy doing? So I really wanted to make sure everybody will sense in me this respect. And when I went to competition, not only they will copy my moves, but they will win with my moves. And they would be waiting to record my routine to go home and study. And I was like
who? Who did that?
Like many people that
I know, but you can say it.
No, but hold on, your image is blocked.
And you too. There we go. Back.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, I mean, like, of course, yourself included, Marco Canova, many people, Tom. But I tell you something. You come after, and this is different. You came a little bit after me. What you've done, maybe it's a way for you to make me improve my moves. Fair enough. The thing that I'm talking about is when you are competing and your move is fresh, on the moment fresh. You cannot have a guy who just come in just after and do it. And the judges that didn't know anything also, we need to replace things the way they were. Judges were extremely bad. There was no knowledge about moves and stuff. So you had a brand ambassador, like, you know, the paper, the sheet, okay, good. And bad, very bad, you know, so people didn't know. But on some level, ignorance is not the culture when you put on a competition. And I wish my moves were more recognized, you know, like.
So I have a question for you. Okay, so obviously we're moving on to moves, copy and moves, originality, that kind of direction. Now, there's obviously a lot of moves which you've created. There's probably a lot of moves which you've created which you haven't shown. Correct? But I'm seeing a lot of them come out on social media now, which is fantastic. But obviously there's a lot of moves which other people have created that maybe you've already created, but not shown it.
Absolutely.
So does that make that your move, in your opinion, or does that make that person's move who's already performed it live for people?
Okay, so it's kind of becoming, to me, a little bit irrelevant, and I'll tell you why. Because you need to put yourself in my shoes for 1 second. This is my life story. This has been going on in my professional career, not my life. I understand I'm blessed. I have 2 boys. I'm very happy. Just what I'm saying is, like, in my career, it is true that you had so many people. So I'm like a wall, you know. I'm just like, this happens. To be copied is my life. I'm kind of over it a little bit on some level, but it's true that the moves that you see at the moment, it's very different. We can go in so many different directions. Just to make a quick parenthesis, the moves you see at the moment that I'm throwing on Instagram as an example are just moves that I practice on the day, that I make the best of my freestyle practice. And what I'm trying to do is to inspire the new generation to push it to a higher level in terms of technicity, embracing the whole body, right? But this is not necessarily something that I would do on stage. They might not be part of the collection of the moves that I want to have on stage if I was to do a competition again.
Yeah.
This being said, there's too many people. I mean, there's too many people that even today, make tutorial video with my moves. It's all over the place. It's normal. This is absolutely normal. This is my legacy, and I'm not competing for how many years? 16 years I've been competing. Yeah. What the hell would I be waiting for? I'm glad they do so. I have total awareness of what I'm doing when I'm showing a move online. The moves belongs to who wants to, right? I can only refer to this tapes, videos that I have, and so many more over the years, and maybe make a story about the moves. You know as well as me that after I stopped competing in 2004, it didn't stop me to be always in the backstage showing my moves to all the competitors. Right? Right. The best example, once I've been even kicked out of Roadhouse for practicing at the back, and I wasn't competing. They cut me out of. Anyway.
I'm just writing a question down. I'm listening.
Yeah. Do you remember the Titan competition in Moscow?
Yes.
And we had a Flair. Alexander called me. I was doing a job for the Kuiper. He called me, and I came back to battle him. We had a battle, right? Then
Go on.
I had a battle with you and Marek.
I stepped out pretty quickly. I wasn't in shape, but I don't remember that far.
I had that move. I had that move when I was showing you the new move when I was catching this way.
Yeah.
And then we were all trying. Look, it was like maybe 30 people. It was maybe 20 cameras. I haven't seen anything. I've stole 30 seconds out of the back. This always happened. When I stopped competing in 2004, I came back and I was showing my moves in between the fingers. The first one to saw it was in France, Sébastien Ogic, and he came up with this after. But I was already doing it, but not in front of the stage. But it's irrelevant. I think in a competition, you can sign your moves now. But I think, you know what? We need to go further in the thinking. Hold on. We need to think that it's not about the move. It's about how we are showing that move. Because the way we display the move is on taste, and style will always come through if you practice and focus just on yourself. So you can take one single move, and that single move, you can make it look extremely different with a total different dynamic, right? And if you don't feel 100%, I mean, the best way to make the move yours is to over practice what you think is best for you. And then your style is just going to explode because you will take zero influence from outside, in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's fine. I forgot what I was going to say now. Well, I mean, when it comes to, that's right. When it comes to originality or creativity, as some people call it now. I mean, when I was competing, when I started, let's say, when you were already on the scene and with the Neil Garner, Neil Lowry, and there was a bunch of us doing stuff. Originality was definitely a much stronger subject back then.
Which one?
It was a much stronger subject. I mean, it was much more originality.
Okay.
It was much more, you know, people were a lot more protective over their moves and claiming moves to say, no, that's mine, no, that's yours, you know, and trying to find their style. There was a lot of copying going on. There was a lot of inspiring one another, I believe, as well. But I think nowadays you don't see it as much. Like nowadays we're seeing the difficulty type of flair take over and originality just kind of going. And you said it a minute ago that it's kind of, I don't know if you meant it this way, but it's becoming irrelevant, which I find sad because I think originality can still be the most relevant part of flair bartending. It is essentially the definition of flair is originality and style. That's if you have flair, you have originality and style, if you look in a dictionary. So, I mean, when you were pushing about, you know, your moves and being original and being stylish, I think that definitely helped me. Although I definitely got inspired by some of your moves, I know that you claim that I copied some of your moves, wasn't intentional, and I still believe that some of the moves that I created or that I performed, let's say, came essentially from my own conscious or subconscious.
I give you this one.
You gave me this one? Oh, you can give me some. Thank you, thank you.
Look. Hey, Tom, do you remember this? Do you remember this? You remember once you came to base water and I was practicing? You do remember that?
Which one? Sorry, when?
Once you came, back in the days when I was practicing, you came to base water in my practice room. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll show you that move. I say, look, I had something new. And I say, Tom, look. And I intend to bounce it here.
Yeah, I knew you was going to bring this one up.
And I put it here. And you tried. And for you people to know here, this is where this moves come from Tom. You did like this. And as you tried, the bottle went higher and you tap it there.
My story is different. My story is different. But at the end, okay, let's not. I'm not going to tell you my story because essentially my one is that I did something by mistake. But
it's good to know, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But this is what I was trying to. This is what I was trying to explain earlier. Like when you see, for example, a lot of people on Instagram that show different moves and stuff. The thing, is it a mistake for me if I want to win a competition to be practicing with others? Was it a mistake for me to say, hey, come along, come practice with me, by not acknowledging that if I bring somebody with me, of course it's going to be some leaking. It's going to get inspired with new things. So this is my responsibility. The decision should have been mine, right? But I'm saying like, it is to how you change your move to make it your own.
Sure.
And, right? The only thing that my mistake made me feel like, damn, I should not have shown him this because now it's going to look too similar to my bounce, right? Well, but each bartender, each competitors, I think, realize what is his purpose into the game. I mean,
yeah.
You were 18 years old. You were watching Flair, right? Now,
sure.
how old are you now?
37.
Now you're 37. Your destination was to lead Flair on a not originality way, but on an organization field. You took on board to lead Flair and to create with Andy an association. So your story is different and very, very important for the contribution in Flair. Mine was different. Mine was to inspire, to create, and as is good to be an organizer, as is bad. It's the same. It's the same to be someone who inspires. You're good, yeah, you're the man. You have your bad because you're losing babies. Earlier on, you were saying like you will come up with new moves. I came up with techniques. I came up with new style. You know what I mean? I had a new style. I came up with a new technique. I was the first one on the beat. I was the first one to do a rotation. I was the first one to use hip hop. I was the first one to do free bottle juggling. No, I was the first one to do free bottle Flair with this grab.
Yeah.
I mean, shaker in the King of the Ring.
So okay, there's a few people asking questions we're going through, so I'm going to try and get to them. So Stretch, we're going to go back to your bottle tin. It's King of the Ring in a minute. Yeah. So sorry to cut you off a little bit there. Now,
no, you're right.
When it comes to, we're going to go past originality. I've got a couple more questions. So in terms of originality, there's an argument that's been put out. I don't know who said it, not in Flair, in general philosophy, that there is no originality. It's just a regurgitation of other information which has been given and passed down from one person to another and developed in their own way. So, for example, if we talk about Flair and that move, let's say, that you just talked about, your bump. Now, does that mean, or my question then to you is, do you think you're 100% original, or have you copied somebody else before, or been inspired by someone else before?
I've been inspired from many people in my career. I've been inspired by Lee Miller, Steve Locke, Rhys Holyfield, Paul Mason, this Australian bartender called Jamie something. He had like a ponytail. He was flaring also, crazy, fast. He had so much control also. I was inspired by so many different actors, artists. I'm the first one to say thank you. And I can tell you what how they motivated me. Lee Miller motivated me to create my own trick. He was doing a trick with two glasses. He was staging a moment for the crowd to look and to feel something. I took that from him. I didn't take his move. One day I came up with a bar spoon and a glass. I was making a mojito. I had a muddler on a glass. Right? And so I took that about him. I would try to, in acting, people acting, I would try to copy face expression to make it look intense, even though it's absolutely not, to make it look like it's impossible, knowing it's so easy. All of this is stage tricks. No, how to flare and to look attractive without having to laugh or to smile. You know?
Yeah.
How can you put like the James Bond's face without, you know, whatever. So of course, many people inspire me during all my career. Of course, I don't think, or if you described originality with so many words, I think originality is shorter.
Well, no, what I was trying to say is that original.
What you were trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that it's pointless. At the end of the day, if you spend 10 hours looking for something that is apparently so obvious to see, then those 10 hours you don't put them practicing on that real actual move that you're saying. That there is forgotten knowledge, absolutely. I don't believe we are the first civilization maybe on Earth. It's very possible that a long time ago was another civilization. Flair existed a different way. I'm pretty sure Flair existed before. I go as far as that if you want. And maybe still exist on other planets if you want to go very far. But I still believe that when you bring something new, people are watching it. And talking about something new, not something that never existed, but something that you put again to new. As far as you can look back in history, you go back from 1600, or was Flair here, or 1400? Did you have Flair here? If yes, any recognition? No. So that means that since that time, nobody has seen any of those moves. I think it's quite new. You can call yourself an original. So
do you think you're 100% an original Flair Bartender?
Absolutely not. If you take in consideration my inspiration, no. Am I trying to be myself? Absolutely. Am I copying people? No.
Okay, so this is a nice question somebody asked earlier up, is at the moment, who do you think the most original Flair Bartender, besides yourself, who do you think the most original Flair Bartender is? I'm joking. So somebody that comes to mind, you know.
I think I would say Florian Baron. Very different.
He was one of your prodigies from Flair Motion.
He's the closest one to me, but he developed a totally different style. Not saying that you don't like. It's totally him. It took him forever to do this style. Even to this day, some of these moves I haven't seen because he's not the ambassador for Jägermeister, and he's working a lot and he has other projects. But he always had very different moves.
What about people competing in the Flair world? Do you watch them?
Original? Asking me this.
I mean, I'm going to throw this out there. If people who are competing now, I mean, to be honest, I'm sorry to say this, there's not many people who excite me to watch.
I like Michael Moreni's style.
Yeah.
Charisma. I like his charisma and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously enjoy people like Luca Valentin, Alexander, Giorgio, but I cannot say that I see like new and you know.
Super, yeah. Okay.
But
so
I mean, this is the way competition were pushed. You know?
Now, again, we're just going to go back to King of the Ring quickly because Stretch has asked me to ask this to you if possible. Now, King of the Ring competition, for those that are watching, was a competition back in 2004. It was one of Nicolas's last competitions. Now, I don't know if you remember this. Yeah. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but there was a big, long conversation between you and Christian Delpesh the day before the competition. Now, there's everybody, Stretch was recording it. And you guys asked him not to record it. Do you wish now that he had continued recording that conversation?
Maybe.
It was quite, from what I heard, it was like a 4 or 5 hour conversation, and it was quite heated, should we say?
Not from my side.
I mean, let's be, we're all, myself included, myself, yourself, Christian, we're all quite opinionated with Flair Bartending, you know, and we've all got our views on how it is and what it should be or whatever. So can you elaborate on that conversation maybe?
Yes, of course, I can elaborate very well. So it just take a bit of time, but like basically when I won the world championship, I mean, like, and I love Christian competition aside. Sure. We talk, we saw each other for joining a competition. I've only great things, but when you're in the heat of the competition, there's nothing that comes in your mind, and obviously.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is, okay, going back a little bit on my career, when I was, after I won the world competition, I got a name for myself in the UK and I think in the world. And I went to America. I took £1,000 and I went to America, and I went there with my little video camera, and I asked, you know the story, no?
I've heard.
No. All right. Okay. So let me elaborate.
Is this when you nearly got a job at Carnival?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, so I went there, and then I spoke to Alan Mays, who was working, and I don't remember, in Shadow Bar, I think.
Shadow Bar.
And then I
Voodoo Lounge.
Voodoo Lounge. And then I showed him. I said, "Hi, my name is NICOLAS. I'm looking for a job. This is what I do." I swear, I had no hotel, nothing. And then he looked at me, and he looked at the video, and he looked at me like, "What? This weirdo, man." Like, saying, "Can I have a job here or something? Like, can I speak to the manager?" No, I go back in the plane, I go home. But anyways, I was like this. He said, "No, but there is a guy, a Lithuanian guy, who managed to get a visa. He works in a carnival court. His name is Mindaugas." So I said, "Okay, thanks." So I went there, and I saw Mindaugas, and he said, "Okay, cool, you want to do like that?" And he was cool, you know, he was excited for me. He introduced me to the boss. And the boss straight away said to me, "Flair, outside the bar now." So I Flair, I'm like, okay. And he said, "Okay, come next Tuesday, and you're going to have a casting with me." So I went there next Tuesday. I did the casting. Everything was okay. He said, "I'm going to do the visa for you. I want you here." So I was super excited. I went back home. I wasn't in good terms with Roadhouse because of what happened in 2000. So I wouldn't step in Roadhouse anymore. Mindaugas came for a competition. I said to him, "You can stay in my house." I was living in Tower Bridge. I had a very nice flat. He came here, he traveled. I was with a girl at that time, so I was in my bed, but I had a beautiful corridor in my house. So I put it was carpet, it was nice. It's not like those dodgy ones in Earth Court. So I put a nice mattress on the floor. I make it nice for him. He got so mad. He got so mad that he was sleeping on the mattress on the floor. He went to sleep outside in a little park next door. And the next day I went with him. We took his big bag. The Americans always have those big sporty bags with 50 bottles inside. And then we had a coffee in Covent Garden. Then we went into Roadhouse. But I went with him in Roadhouse, and I didn't feel so good. And,
sorry to interrupt, Nicholas. We're going to get cut off in a couple of minutes. Okay. So when we do, I'll start the next one, okay?
Okay. Yeah, so I went with him, and then as I went with him inside, I lost him after a competition, and he never came back home to my flat. And I knew he was to leave the next day. And on that night, Neil Garner stayed with me in my flat, and the next morning I wanted to practice, but I was still waiting for him, right? And then eventually he will come back the afternoon. He finished his night somewhere. And then he came back the afternoon in the park. He said, "Man, I'm going to miss my flight." I said, "I left the paper. You didn't call me. You didn't tell me anything." So he got pissed off. And then we will have this conversation about Flair and juggling. And I was extremely straight-minded on something, on the subject. And he went back home not so friendly. And when he went back home, a year later, after I totally cleaned myself out of everything, so healthy and everything, the boss called me and said my visa has been refused due to immigration. Fuck, I was devastated, and I already left my job in the UK. I already started to get paid. And then a few years later, and then the guy who took my job is Christian Selfish.
Ah, okay. Hold that thought, Christian. Nicholas, sorry. So guys, everybody watching, we're going to stop this live stream because we only get 60 minutes and we're going to start another one. So we're going to stop this one and you're going to continue that story, okay? We'll be back in a second. Here's an ad break. So
Christian got the job in kind of a course, and I'm gutted. I'm like, damn, I don't know. And I don't know how many years after. I think 2 years later, I hear there's a competition called The King of the Ring, and it's happening in the bar where I was supposed to work. And I think this is the one time in my life where I had the biggest balls, because I was absolutely shitting myself to go back there in a place where I knew I was going to get crucified, in a place where I would have to endure watching someone that I don't know so well, but is working where I was supposed to work. And there was a lot of questions standing in the middle of this bar, in the crowd, watching those bartenders working that place, thinking like, and I was with Francesco Leone, and I was thinking like, what am I doing here, man? I want to get crucified. I was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, what's wrong with you? But I remember that I wanted to make sure this routine demonstrate my style because of what happened. So the focus was on my style. So when I prepared to this competition, it is so strange when I listen to people say this is my favorite routine. I took away so many moves. I took away so many moves. I was like, I don't even know where am I going to drop. Yeah? And I dropped twice. One time I should have. The second time it was one of the hardest moves. It was just well put. But it was put. So I wanted to win for the start anyway. And then before the final, I think it was on the first or the second day. First day we were 98. Second day we were registered. But you were there.
I was there, but I wasn't there at the conversation.
You were not at the pool?
No, because you was at Robin's house,
right? So,
and I was staying somewhere else.
So basically, we get to Robin's house where we were staying, few of us, a very good bartender and friend, amazing person. And then we were staying by the pool, resting, and it was an intense game at the time. And then comes Christian with his wife at the time, and then he sits down on the bed, and we started talking. Now, look, I don't remember the whole conversation. I'll be totally honest with you. What do I remember? That Flair is a variation of juggling, that it will take him 6 months to do my 3-bottle, that I didn't create that move. And his wife was next to him. I didn't want to go into any fight, and she was lovely. I didn't want to, it was not the time to do something like this. And at the end of the day, it's a difference of opinion. And sure. I'm not going to debate about something referring to him if he's not there. But so this happened. And then NICOLAS arrived also at the pool. And this is when I went crazy. But I remember a lot of bartenders were at the pool leaving the pool as we were talking with Christian because they were disagreeing with what's going on.
Sure,
and
sure.
I remember NICOLAS came, and then I was lying down on the bed, and I was like, I couldn't, and I was very fired up. And I went to him and I said, like, NICOLAS, is it because of you that I don't work in Carnival? That I didn't get the visa? He said, no. I said, no. He said, look at me in the eye. He said, is it because of you? And he said to me, maybe, yeah. I said, why are you here? I said, why are you here in front of me? At the time it was like this, it was like, I think it's the one bartender who I had the most animosity, totally gone with it now. I'm just telling you the story because you asked. And then,
well, go on.
And I was very fired up. I had a message. At the end of the competition, I go like this, like this, and like this. That was saying like, it's for all of you, I'm really proud. Yeah. I'm really proud from the heart. And yes, I could have walked here. No? Right?
Sure.
That was the intention, the message I tried to spread. Yeah.
So, would you say that the King of the Ring was one of your, what is your proudest moment during your time? Was it that because you felt like you'd given a message, or another time?
In my career, in competition?
It can be in your career and after competitions as well, if you want. I mean, obviously, Flair Bartender related, not obviously the birth of your children is probably the proudest.
Of course. No, that's not in us. No, I would say, I don't know. I could be cheeky with the answer and say it still has to come.
Cool. Well, I'm going to fire out some questions here because I've got them down, and then we can carry on with some other stuff, okay?
No worries.
We've already gone through people that you like to watch at competitions at the moment, like you said, Giorgio Chiarello, Alexander Stefanov, Michael Moreni, got a great attitude on stage. Yeah. Here's a good one.
I like Sergey also. He's crazy, the Russian one.
One of my favorites. Sergey Bulaktin, yeah. What is your favorite move that isn't yours?
That's cool.
This one's from Stretch, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, there is one that is not necessarily my favorite, that's not mine, but I used it, is the when I rolled the Galliano. That was, I don't remember how yours did it. I don't know if he put the hand, apart from he put so it was rolling from, I think he because I remember seeing it as well. I think he did the hand and then over. But with the hand, not with the finger. All right, so because I was using the spin, it did help me. It did help me in the competition to look different, to bring a twist. Maybe that's one, but there's so many moves that are not mine, like like this. Like
which one?
Like in reverse, moves like this, they are not mine. The thing that I took in was the roll between the finger. That's mine, and reverse.
But hang on. It doesn't have to be a move that you perform, but perhaps it's a move that you see somebody do now that you're like, fuck, that's a really good move.
Rephrase the question from scratch.
So which move?
Read it.
Okay. What's your favorite move which isn't your move? So you don't have to perform this move, but maybe you see somebody else do it.
Okay. Okay. I like the moment. Oh yeah, I like the one from Alexander when he goes up and down the shaker.
Oof, yeah. Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
That's cool. Okay, I get it. I like Vladimir.
What a bastard.
That is just, people don't understand how difficult that is. I like this guy. Hello, dude that I don't know, which I saw on Instagram. I don't know if it's a one-off, Marco something from Italy, I think. 4 bottles and he catches on the foot, the bottle upside down. I was like, what's going on?
He's I think he's Russian. Anton Gorov.
No,
Gorov, I think.
Something. You send me the link. Anton is
Marco Trubolini.
Anton is the one who balanced the bottle, but that move, I don't know. It was totally real. I like Luca. I don't know. You tell me if it's Luca's move. When he goes on the tin and he goes back at the.
Which one?
When he put it on the.
Oh, like this.
When he goes back, yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Luca definitely made it his own, but I remember seeing Siki do a similar move many years ago. It's kind of one of those things which I don't know, but definitely associated with Luca.
Which one?
You don't have to keep going. If you think of one, then say.
I like one from Robbie Italian.
Yeah, Robbie Cucurullu. Yeah.
Very underrated Flair Bartender, by the way.
Big time.
Super underrated, amazing style. Talking about style back in the days, this guy was just like so good, but it's very, very simple, very nice. But this style, he should have get more credit for what he did.
He when I was organizing Roadhouse back in the day, and I don't know if you know, I'm no longer part of WFA and things like that now, but when I was organizing Roadhouse with Andy, and we did a Boxing is King competition, which we're going to come to later. And I called up Robbie. I said, Robbie, I know you've been competing, and I think this is a good competition for you. You should come over. And he turned up, and he bowled in only, and I knew he's got good style and everything. And he turned up, he made the finals, and I think he got 5th or 4th. And he's like, man, I loved it because it really it really showed his flair and his style, and he kicked the ass of so many of the new people that were on the scene at that moment. And they were like, who is this guy? And he came and just...
That's why we should have, guys in competition, you should have kept on encouraging more, like, originality for it to be more present today. But to be honest with you, I think now anyway, it's kind of more than saying that originality is not a thing. I think originality is kind of obsolete the way we want to understand it. It's not. Yeah. I don't think we need something original. We need something new.
Sure. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're getting there.
We don't even need something new. Holding that thought. We need something to define. We need to define flair.
That's the question though, and who gets that job?
I guess
that's the thing.
Later, holding that thought.
Holding that thought. So here's one. What move has been claimed by someone else that you believe is yours? So
you want me to make friends today, right? Well,
I mean, everybody has that. Everybody has their, because I know my flair better than anybody else's. Rodrigo knows his, Christian knows his, you know yours. So we all are believers that we've created all these great moves. And there's obviously moves which I look at and go, well, I did that before, but I've never,
if you look in archives, Flair video, you will find out that in the last century, because I cannot speak for before, from what's been recorded, from what's been passing around, I mean, like this.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
We all agree is my move, and the list is long. This.
The gunsling.
This one.
I'm sure some people would question that one.
I can't wait to see, because this will help me. That would help me. I came up with this like what, 18 years ago, something like this, in competition or in the back.
The gunsling, that one. Okay, essentially this is a
but yeah, like this, but turning it here on the thumb.
Yeah, around the fingers, around the thumb.
And this.
This one? Yeah. Now that's just a variation of the gunsling, right?
Okay, never done before, right?
No.
Every time, but done everywhere. Oh yeah, look, this move is not my move. For example, it's from one of my teachers called Paul Mason. This one.
Yeah.
Okay. What I did, I enhanced the moves to play with the head and the beat. That I do it all the time. That was from one of my teachers.
But would you not say, going by your own definition in a way, that that's copying somebody's move?
Yes, but once you signed your moves, you can always pay respect. It's like if I sing a song and I say this song is mine, 3, 2, 1. I believe I can fly. No, dude, that's not your song, because you know it's not my song. If you see,
of course.
If you see a competition,
yes,
take any extreme sport you want. The creating a move is supposed to make the art grow into a better place to be for all the people coming in. It doesn't mean you cannot. How do you say? Copy moves, but you don't win competition. You don't gain any originality in your competition doing. If I was to do that move on the Galliano and yours is there, I know this move would be a pretty move to look, but I know I lost 10-15 seconds of precious time to place something nice of myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? You
of course.
That in the evolution of bartending, what is moved today becomes a basic in the future.
Of course, right. Exactly.
So I mean, it's normal to use a basic in the future. I am not saying again that you cannot do this move, but the more you choose the same move from one person to put in your routine because you like his style, his way of putting things together, his originality, who he is, basically, I think, yes, you're going to lose a lot in originality. It doesn't mean you cannot use other people's moves. I could do moves from, look, I could do a tutorial about everybody else's moves.
Did you not think? Do you not think? So going down that road, do you not think? My thought process when it was in terms of using other people's moves,
Yeah.
I would always try and do my best to not use somebody else's move on stage. But when it comes to performing a show or being behind a bar, I'd steal everyone's moves. Steal all of them.
And then when people say to me, "But this guy doing the bar spoon," I'm like, "Oh my god, man! This is what this is for. This is what I'm not right. Like this is what this is for. If you make your show better because of the trick that I created, thanks. So I'm so happy.
Right.
Thank you. The thing that I don't like, if I was to do a competition, the guy do the bar spoon is like, wow.
Of course.
I would be like, hello.
Hello. I agree. I completely agree with that.
That's it. I think it's not a matter of like. I think what this generation is teaching us is to keep improving and keep changing much faster than we used to. I take this as a great thing. I think our responsibility now, if we can, and when I say our responsibility, I cannot take myself out of it because I'm not a leader in the Flair Bartending. I'm an artist. I am sponsored by the Kuiper as a freestyle Flair bartender, right? That's it. So what I'm saying is like the leader of the Flair today needs to take Flair in the direction that's where it's gonna make it. It's gonna help it to be defined. You cannot.
Okay, so
you're going around too much. You're going around too much
so
for everything, and you do nothing.
Who is the leader of the Flair bartending world? I mean, I don't think there should be. By the way, I don't think there should be one leader.
I don't know who they are, but you're part of them. You have a big influence. You do Flair camps. You have a huge network. I think you're one of the most connected person on the planet when it's down to modern Flair bartending. I don't think I'm wrong.
No. I mean, I kind of put myself in a position like that to try and encourage and share and lead as best as I can.
And it worked. And it worked. You are in charge.
But we've discussed this back in Paris Flair Open in 2000, whichever year it was, I can't remember. Do you not think that, and I know, and you know that you've still got a lot to share
yes,
with people, and do you not think that putting yourself into a role like that, not the same way that I've done it, or however you want to do it, whether that be doing more trainings, I know you still do a lot, doing I can't think now, organizing more competitions, you know, essentially putting yourself out there, sharing more of your moves, and I know lots of people will agree with what I'm about to say, sharing a lot of all those videos that you filmed all those years ago to people online, to show people what it was like.
I would like to say, Jumbo said yesterday, this will be part of a documentary that will come someday. And by the way, Jumbo, you didn't mention where you got that from.
He did. We did a finger roll video tutorial a few years ago, and he gave the shout out to you and to Sebastian. I mean, I'm going to hold my hands up and back you up here. And I remember being in Bayswater and you saying to me, "I'm coming up with a new way to Flair. Coming up with new way to Flair," and it was a lot of this finger roll stuff. And I think I saw like a small sequence, which you use more than anything today.
Yeah, there was a beginning of the style, yeah.
Exactly. And I just thought, motherfucker, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks sick. And I remember when I did this, I was like, fuck, like if I do it like this, I can do it like this. I was like, shit, I can do it everywhere. And I started being obsessed with it. Yeah, that's true.
But, all right, let's quickly power through a few more. Hang on, which were the best years of Flair bartending, or are they still to come? Wait, I need to get some water as well, 1 second.
They're still to come. They're still to come.
Yeah?
That's right.
Okay, so in the ones that have already gone, do you think which ones were the best?
I would say the Vegas years.
The Vegas years, it's true.
I think
so
honestly, from 2000 to 2006 or 8, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you on that. There were definitely some good years there. Okay, I've got a few more. We'll just go through. The future of Flair. Chat with you said about that. Okay, let's talk about competitions quickly.
Yes.
We're going to leave bottle tin until the end. That's going to be the funnest. Competitions. What would you change about competitions today? What's your view on competitions and what would you change? And then we'll go on to your style of competitions.
What did I say in Paris?
I can't remember. We talked about a lot.
Nothing. No, I don't. I cannot tell you my future ideas on it, but I can tell you if I get the chance to organize the Roadhouse final, I will change Flair.
What would you do to it?
I will change it.
How?
I will define it a way I believe it should be today in 2020. I gave you 16 years of head.
Okay, let's go back quickly. So in Paris, we did discuss this briefly, and he mentioned about the battle competitions which you organized, and the fact that we copied the same style of competition and did it at Roadhouse, and you were annoyed about that. And you seem to be annoyed about the fact that other people were doing battle comps. Now, my view is, obviously, you have a view on how you see Flair to be in competitions and everything else, and however you share that or don't, it's completely your prerogative.
Yes.
But do you not believe that if you want to see Flair bartending go in a certain direction, then if you create something like a battle competition, it's good for other people to then take that idea and try and do something the same or similar or progress it and be inspired by what you've created, because then you're pushing Flair in a direction and essentially being a leader of the future of Flair.
I totally agree with you. I'm going to say that I wasn't annoyed. I was disappointed because you were organizing a concept that I created in 2006 on a major scale, and you invited me as a judge, and I was disappointed, not requesting, that it didn't come up in you to call me as a co-organizer, which I would have preferred, because I believe I would have been able to support even more the event by giving my support, creating that project long time ago, to your competition. And it is the reason why it's never been something that we've talked about, because it was not something that you request, it's something that happens. And I was just expecting from this more than anything. And it wasn't a question of money. It was just a question of saying like, hey, this concept was created by NICOLAS, and today we have the chance to have him with us to complement our skills to make a better event. If you would have organized this maybe in another place, another country, I would not have been so disappointed. But because it was Roadhouse and I have so much to redeem myself apparently from their side, it would have been nice for me to be in the place that made me, that also the place that gave me the chance to show why I came into the circuit long time ago. So it was more disappointment than annoyed, like.
Well, I mean, I can only apologize for not doing that, and I don't know. I don't even know. I know your name did come up when we started the idea of different competitions and the battle comp as well, but. I mean, I definitely would love to see more style battle comps happen, because I think they're great. And I think they were just touching the surface on how they can be developed into Flair bartending. And it's definitely something which I think other people enjoy as well, because it is just about Flair. You don't have to make any drinks. But do you have other ideas of competitions that you want to do, which you want to share with us or not?
No, I don't. No, because I don't.
Are you gonna organize another competition one day?
I don't know.
Are you gonna compete again?
I would like to compete in the competition I will organize.
You'd like to compete in the competition that you organize?
Yeah. But
why? That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Why would I want to compete in a competition that I organize? Because I like the concept of it. I can't.
So why not? So why not share the concept so somebody else can organize and then you can compete eventually?
Right, but I created that concept. I would like to get the credits and the living out of it while sharing it, so the same doesn't happen as in the past. When I gave away everything and everything was taken away from me, I've been sitting on the back seat for the past 16 years. Since 2004, I've been doing my career, but I could have finished in the top 3 of many competitions. I sacrificed, like I said at the beginning of the video, many years instead of becoming the best to define Flair. My goal is to define Flair. It could be a child goal, right? Before it was to win, and you know, sometimes you create.
Oh, still there? Oh, what's happened? What's happened? Can somebody give a thumbs up on the chat? I don't know what's happened, but we seem to have lost Nicholas. Can everybody? Nicholas has gone. So I'm still here. Hopefully everyone else can still hear me. Let's wait for Nicholas to jump back in. I think here we go. Let's add him in. He must have lost connection or got a phone call. If you've got back. I don't know what happened.
Exactly, man. Even the internet was taking away from me. I went to practice. You guys, you are funny. I think you are funny.
I'm fucking. I gotta practice.
Yeah,
so,
no, I forgot where I was.
So basically, we were talking about concepts of competition, and you know, you potentially competing in your own style of concept of competition. But obviously, you know that can. No, you were talking about defining Flair for 16 years and not defining becoming the best.
Look, 2004, I stopped competing. People say to me, "Why do you stop competing in 2004?" I said, because for everything I was trying to show, to do, I wasn't getting the respect I was expecting. Even if people were saying, "Oh yeah, you wanna," I was like, you know what? I'm bored. I won it 4 times. I never finished 3rd or 4th, or 5th. One time 4th. Anyway, and I was like, yeah, it's not appreciated. What I'm trying to achieve is not appreciated. I left Flair showing 2 bottle, 2 shaker. Right? Every time I would say, yeah, this is my move, that's my move. Back in the days, people would be like, oh, fuck. If you listen to NICOLAS, everything is his moves. And it was so annoying because it was 90% true. A lot of the things I was saying were my moves, and I was extremely proud of it, trying to be noticed. And I realized that nobody cared. It was just, oh, thanks, it's your move. Oh, thank you. I said, yeah, but at least say in the competition by making me win, hey, this guy deserved to win. It's NICOLAS, he won, he was the best. Not anymore, but he was the best. I didn't get that credit. So when I walked away, I was like, okay, you took away from me. You took so many things from me, and now you treat me like I'm nobody. So, okay. So I did my last competition, and I was like, okay, you think you can manage Flair now? You think you can manage it, yeah? So go for it. Every time you saw the competition coming up with a new move, it's because I did a competition showing so many new things that inspired a lot of people. And then competition were getting better and better because we had so many new things that we wanted to do. Yes, it was a lot of ego. Yes, it was a lot of competition. But it was a healthy sweat on our face because we were fighting for it. And today, in 2004, I mean, when I left with 2 bottle, 2 shaker. And you guys kept going. You kept going with 2 bottle, 2 shaker, 3 bottle, 2 shaker, 4 bottles, and then this is where it gets. This is how far people's mind get. Nothing else. In 16 years, just to give you an example of how to define Flair, and in 16 years, I haven't, 16 years, right? Never saw one guy, and please tell me where, if it is, it must be very rare, who has done a 3 bottle exhibition with 3 different types of bottles.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of one, but I'm sure there's one out there.
1 Absolute, 1 Cointreau, 1 De Kuiper, 1 Bacardi, whatever you want. To make a drink. I understand we do this in 2000. We're starting. Defining the culture. You're making drinks. Why don't you use a bottle of Absolute as an example? Why? Because it's too hard. There's no bad bottles. There's only bad Flair bartenders. This is your skill to learn how to flair with any bottle. Yeah, but it's not.
I mean, sorry to interrupt quickly, but if Absolute put on a competition where first prize is 20,000 euros, I'm sure everybody would learn how to flair with an Absolute bottle pretty fucking quickly.
Absolutely, and that's why Flair goes nowhere.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'd still love to see, you know, you and these ideas that you've got to be sort of put into practice, because, you know, like in terms of competition and, you know, making more battle competitions, and I'm sure you've got other ideas of competitions. It would be great to see some of those come to light at some point.
Do you think Flair competition define Flair? Yes or no?
It's a hard. I don't think it does.
Okay, that's
because
it. Me neither.
True.
That's it. Do you think?
But I think
I'm not looking to have fun with Flair. I'm looking to define it. I'm looking for something for people to watch and say that is Flair Bartending. Isn't it clear?
But I think it's already been defined many, many years ago when people were using it behind the bar. And, you know, when we're seeing a lot more people, so let's just go to another sort of journey.
The depth of Flair Bartender's talk.
But Flair bartending on stage is not Flair bartending anymore. It's a juggling performance. It's a performance of something. Now, Flair bartending for me, the Flair bartending which I think is more Flair bartending is the stuff that we're seeing not from competitors, behind the bar, making a drink, using their style and originality to make that happen. Now, Flair on stage and the performance side of it is a branch of Flair bartending, but it is the extreme performance part of it. But the real Flair bartending, defined Flair bartending.
So is it talking exactly to that point? So is it our fault that Flair is not that great when it is done in a freestyle way? Is it our fault that people get bored of what they see? Yes, it is. It's nobody else's fault than those ones who compete, or those ones who take part. If there is solutions to make it better and more entertaining, call me. I'll help you.
Well, I think this is the reason why I say competition is because competition is a great driving force for people to improve and to share the flair.
People have no more. I'm sorry, but like when I stopped competing in 2004, this is exactly when I opened my Flair school. I didn't want to teach and compete. I wanted to make sure that everything I knew was going to be passed on. I only kept my new style to make sure that in the future I will be able to bring something fresh again, something that is needed. People wanted to have fun with teams and stuff. Now, I don't understand in 2020 how we wonder why Flair is boring when you do 3-5 shakers, 2 bottles, and you pile them up and you only pour in one and you give everything to your bartender. This is totally useless. So in the culture of it, it's useless. When you put your shakers inside the drink to separate, it's part of the culture. If you do this to separate shakers, people think it's cool. And it is cool.
Yeah,
it's proper to the finest definition of it, maybe not. Because otherwise I do this and I will tell you that's my new move.
Yeah. But what I was trying to get at is with competitions at the moment are pushing people in a direction which is only going to go down, in my opinion. Or it's just going to be...
Since 2004.
Agreed. So bringing a different style of competition, which involves Flair in some way, shape or form, which doesn't go down the same road as what we're having now, I believe will encourage more people to use it behind their bars, and as Jumbo said in the video, to create more tips and to actually have a proper definition of what Flair bartending is.
I think what it will do immensely, it will make sure that nobody touch about the definition of it when it comes down to freestyle. I think we shouldn't take away the extreme side of it. We should just embrace it as what it's supposed to be.
Completely. I don't want to take away the extreme. I love
art away and put it somewhere else. No. I think the day you define Flair, you won't have to talk about it anymore. Everybody will understand basketball is basketball. And but maybe if we put a 3-point and then after we do like the basket, no, this is the way you play. That's it. It's not going to be like you add anything else on top. And why? Because look, this is the way it is. And this is working Flair. And working Flair can have different shape and form, like the competition from Jumble that you say behind the bar, 4 people. It's a way to see things. Imagination is for everybody. Any type of game for Flair, it would be interesting. But the problem I have is like, until you define what Flair is, the only thing you're doing is you're diluting it. You're diluting it and it's losing its essence. Understand what I'm saying? And this is the problem what we have today. We have mixed, I haven't, but it has been mixed too much juggling with Flair, with a brand, with money, with how to optimize money, but like okay, let's forget about the passion, and then we organize around what the brand wants more than what Flair needs.
Sure.
Yeah.
1 second. You already get to the time. Well, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and I can't remember what I was going to say now. Sorry.
No.
I mean, in terms of it being defined and defining Flair, I think it's very, very hard to do. I do believe it's, you likened it to basketball and other sports. Now, I don't want to take away the extreme side of competition, but I do believe there needs to be other avenues that it can go down. And I don't fully believe that it should be classed as a sport. It's an art form. It's an art form of making a drink with style and originality. I mean, in the loosest sense of the term, I'm not claiming that everyone should use that term as their definition of Flair, but there's many avenues that it can go down. And your view and my view is very different to John in the Philippines, or Michael in Las Vegas,
Absolutely.
or Peter in South Africa. And all three of those believe that their definition of Flair is 100% correct.
Right, but one only is right.
But that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it beautiful.
One only is right. Or one only is going to be more popular.
I don't think...
if one only is not right, at least one is going to be more popular than the other version. I am not saying that people are not entitled to their opinion. Please, freedom to everybody. All I'm saying is just that you look, for example, at base jump is base jumping. Sorry. There's not like a variation, it's just the way it is. You need to do, juggling is juggling. What is juggling? Is this?
Flair.
Yeah, but it's the action, what you have in mind.
Of course, you have, but it's manipulating items in the air. It's Flair Bartending and it's juggling.
Mind Flair.
Mind Flair.
Mind Flair.
Well, I see my thought, and we're going to probably agree to disagree on this, is that I don't think there's one definition for it. I think that the different opinions everybody has.
We just say that. There's more opinion, and everybody's entitled to think, and it's not to start a war and to make people think like, oh, so he's telling me that I'm not flying. It's absolutely not what's happening here. What I'm trying to say is just like Flair exists in a lot of different type and shape. And as I said at the beginning, Flair is taste. What is your taste? How do you want to do it? Some people enjoy having like a 4-bottle routine in their routine. And then you know what? They're having fun. Why do you want to take it away from them? Nothing. All I'm trying to say is that if you take a guy, he's on a skateboard and he's juggling a 3-bottle, he might have fun with it. If you take a guy on a skateboard and he do 1 bottle, 1 thing, he might have a lot of fun with it. What is he doing, Tom? Is he skateboarding, or is he flaring, or is he juggling? There we go. This is what I'm saying about defining it.
He's creating an art in himself, and I think he said something, a good message in that last couple of sentences, is that somebody may enjoy to do 4 bottles on stage or in their performance, and I think that is part of the definition of what Flair Bartending should be. It should be an enjoyment that you do, not be something that you were expected to do. Which I'm likening it to competitions a little bit, but you see the new people that come up through the ranks, and the first thing they want to learn how to do the difficult move and land on their elbow and juggle 3 bottles and do 3 tins and a bottle snatching moves. And you're like, you're only doing that because you've seen somebody else do it. But you may find enjoyment. My enjoyment is bottle tin. I'm sure yours is the same. My enjoyment is also, or used to be, 3 bottles and 2 shakers. I probably can't do it anymore, but it was my enjoyment. I had enjoyment from doing 3 bottles. I had enjoyment from doing 2 bottles in a shaker. So my view is that you should do what you enjoy and push that as your definition of what Flair Bartending is. And that's what will create such a diverse, beautiful community of Flair Bartending, I believe.
Yes, right. So let's believe that this happens. And let's even recognize that this has been happening for already many years. Everybody's been creating their own version of it, right? I think the one who will subsist at the end is the one who becomes the most popular, right? I think anybody can create you can decide to make a competition. You have to spin the basketball while you make a drink. You can decide any type of concept, and you could say, yeah, it was interesting. You can, but I think any type of entertainment that doesn't come close to a really Flair feels like to be will die eventually in the long or short term, most probably in the short term. So is it supposed to stop people from being themselves and fun? No, but it's not defining. I mean, I'm not trying to be, surfing is surfing. You can't create surfing after with a thing under, but surfing is surfing. And that's something else, and that's recognized for what it is.
Yeah.
And then you have big wave surfing, but the machine was better with the thing in the water. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think it's not a matter of. I think it's not a matter of creating to create. Creating with one intention. I'm not trying. I'm not saying I create. I'm not saying my new style is a new way of what do you say? It's purely on my new style is on the competition side of it for freestyle.
Yeah.
You could also incorporate walking, but it's more my new style is more for the show, right? And I think this is where Flair should belong, but
for the show.
Yeah, for the show. But Flair in certain way, without giving you more details, because I know you're a sneaky little guy and you're gonna try to find it.
I know you think I completely copied all your moves, and it wasn't like that.
Come on, Tom. I know what it is to be human. I know what it is to be 20. I know what it is to be 30. I know what it is to have been there before and to have this heart and stomach filled up with fire. And with time, we put everything into place. So don't feel bad about it. You know.
I don't feel bad at all.
Right. But I see you saying it twice.
But let's use this. Gake is about to ask a question, and we're going to just take that to move on to the bottle tin thing. We've got about 20 minutes left on this live stream.
Yeah.
So Gake, if you've got that question, you've got 10 seconds to put it on. And then we're going to start talking about the bottle tin is king. Okay, Gake, if you put that on, we'll ask it in a second. So, bottle tin is king. Now, I want to give you my backstory on the routine I did, the pushing that kind of ideology, and where it came from. So I was coming to the end of my career, and I thought about quitting a few years beforehand. But it was about March, as Jumbo said in our YouTube chat the other day. It was about March or June or May, whenever it was. And he knew that this year was going to be my last, and he said, what about doing a routine of just bottle tin? Because I love bottle tin, and I learned about bottle tin, and it was my bread and butter, which we've been pushed down from the likes of you and Neil Garner and Nick Hancock and other people that I was competing with years ago. Ollie Pluck as well. And it was one which was always, you can Flair, show us your bottle tin. That's your expression of what it is. So Jumbo says, why don't you do just 2 objects? And I thought, fucking great. I don't have to practice all that multiple object stuff. I can really enjoy myself. And if I don't win, it's a great excuse to say I didn't win because of the bottle tin. But if I do win, then it's a great statement to the rest of the world to say you don't have to do all this multiple object stuff. Now, my thing behind it all was I never claimed that it was my creation. I never claimed that I was the first to say bottle tin is the way forward, because I knew that came from the likes of you and the likes of Ollie Pluck used to push it to me all the time. And Ollie Pluck was one of the last competing bartenders to just do bottle tin on stage when other people were doing 3 and 4 objects. So, I wanted to just put that out there now to say that anybody who's watching who puts bottle tin on me as the bottle tin is king is rubbish. There's no, people will just define somebody as bottle tin king, but I think that's complete bullshit to do that, because somebody will prefer your Flair, somebody will prefer mine, somebody will prefer Christian's or Rodrigo's or Danilo's or Stiffer's or whoever it may be. And I believe that everybody has their own level and king moves in the bottle tin thing. It's not about who is the king of bottle tin, in my opinion. It's about sending a message to the Flair bartending world to say you don't have to have the most difficult moves to be the best Flair bartender on stage or behind a bar. To be the best, it's about how you present your Flair with style and grace and with a smile on your face, and basically make people enjoy what you're doing.
To be the best is to be yourself, and hoping the hard work will make you win. But if you lose having done your best, I don't think you'll ever be disappointed. Anyway, sorry.
100%. And that's what for myself, just sorry to talk about that for a second, that's what made that routine so special for me, was that I was like, fuck the competition. I want to go out there and enjoy my last ever routine. And I mean, I have a lot of people to thank for doing that. One is you, one is Jumbles for the idea, one is all the people that I competed with, as I just said, Neil Garner, Neil Lowry, Nick Hancock, Ollie Pluck. Ollie Pluck was the first guy to come over to me after I finished my first ever competition and say, good job. Roberto Panici was the second, and even Joel Lindsay, I think, was the third. But, can you elaborate on the whole bottle tin? Bottle tin is king, bottle tin is ideology, whatever you want to call it.
No, I think it was a good thing you've done. You should have done it long ago, I think. Right. To the routine, the bottle tin, the final. I think Flair needed this at the time. It's cool you say it, because you were not doing that before. And when you did that routine, it's good when I hear you speak, because if you really feel and look inside your heart, that's the one thing that makes you so happy. And this is
100%.
Yeah, but this is also part of the process, to realize like things that we misunderstood and we're going into another direction. My philosophy on it is that I'm a firm believer on bottle tin, because I believe it's the essence. You look at all my videos, even if they're all on YouTube, they are all bottle tin, mainly. I think that everything comes from bottle tin, because bottle tin is the easiest way to create a move while incorporating your body, to make sure that's going to be your own style. You just need to add one bottle to the section, and then you will make it bigger. It's up to you. It really depends on people's objective. Like, what do you want to do with Flair? For me, on that day when you did bottle tin, it was the first time that I felt that you're trying to say something. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think nobody says nothing. And I think the problem is that if you try, the problem somehow not the problem, but the complexity of it is that if you, through online teaching, you do classes, or anyone who does classes, and encourage a certain way, and then all of a sudden you change, some people get confused. But more than that, they will think it's a one-off from you, just a way to say goodbye, and then they go back on multiple objects and everything. They might not have understood the statement you are trying to give.
Agreed.
But that comes from the teaching we're giving out there.
Mm-hmm.
You need to teach when you know it's good. You need to really make sure people understand. So you could put on your podcast your routine, and you explain what was the message before. You can put this on YouTube.
Sure.
Make people understand.
I thought about doing that, and I mean, the reason I bring it up, and I think I said this to Jumbles as well, is that it's weird for me how my last ever routine was the one I enjoyed the most and my best ever for me, okay? And when I watch back my other routines where I may have won a comp or I did well, I watch back all my other routines and I just think they're shit. I just think there's maybe 2 or 3 which are good.
Somebody said to me when I have students and people visit my little Flair school here, practice place in my basement here in my house. When I say to people, they ask me, I say, what do you do 2 or 3 shaker or 4 shaker? They say, because if you want to win, you have to do it. And I'm like, I'm listening to this and I'm like, what do you fucking care to win? You suck at it. Maybe you're better at something else. Why don't you do that? If you yeah, but it's like, why don't you show them another way? Yeah, because otherwise you don't win. Isn't it better not to win using that rod and making your own rod that is gonna be much faster, even if you lose the first race because you spend all your time cutting the trees and making it? Isn't it better? But people don't get there. People want instant success.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
And the problem is the fun behind the competition. I think, yeah, I would love to organize a competition, but yeah, that sounds too arrogant. But unfortunately, the competition that exists today don't allow me to show my new style. I need to sit down with someone, maybe you, I don't know, and then we organize this competition. I would love to do it in Roadhouse. If it ever happen that it opens again. I cannot compete in something that I created. It's obvious. I cannot decide if people will like it or not. All I can say is it's a premise of what Flair could look like in the future. Something that could put 50% of the bartenders that Flair want to retire and 50% of young kids want to start. I have this in my hands. It's an option. It doesn't say it would work. All I'm saying is, like, I would not show this on the wrong platform with the right people. And if I can do something in the Roadhouse, I'll take the microphone and explain the reason why of everything. And I would give them, I would say, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to live maybe the scene, not as a Flair bartender, but at least with that newest project that I've kept for so long, not knowing how to release it. It will go out there. It will be the story behind it, will be out there, and you guys do whatever. It could be like, yeah, that's true, or yeah, not as good as I thought. That is when I did the massive competition, it went like this. People were like, yeah, it's not going to work. People came to see me before to know how to battle in my first school. Nobody knew anything about it. But this is how you risk yourself, and there's a potential. There's potential.
There's not a I like this where this is going, and there's not enough people. We've got about 10 minutes left, I think. There's not enough bartenders in the world today doing Flair or competitions for just, like you said, to tell us, to make a statement, or that they fully enjoy, or, as I say, that is their heart and soul into it. Do you understand what I mean? There's not enough people doing that. Everybody is flaring to try and be cool or the best or win or to put themselves, you know, in this cool freaking scenario. But there's one guy who I believe is following that. I'm just going to give you my heart and soul every time I compete. I don't know if you've seen him. His name's Eric Yu from Taiwan. Now, his flair is very difficult, and he has this shadow snatch move going on. But it's so pure and eager to just go, look what I can do, you know? And he's not essentially making a statement, but he's bringing new ideas. There's a lot of split snatch catch style in there, but the emotions behind when he competes and what he does, I think I want to see more of that. And that is, he's not doing loads of crazy bottle tin stuff.
On an emotion level, maybe, sorry to cut you, on an emotion level, you might be right. On a way of flaring in the future, I don't know. But on emotion level, we can take what he has to offer to Flair and make people understand that this is an important part of looking for what people are looking for when watching a Flair bartender. But you need to see the link. I haven't seen it.
But I'll send you a link. But anyway, I think it's a good time to wrap it up. It's been 2 hours. Unless there's something else you want to bring up, we've got another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak out, because you're more connected, so I have more chance to speak out. And
No, thank you.
nothing, just when it comes down to Flair, no matter who's holding the bottle, and I love Flair. You know me on a level that other people don't know, even though we're not family, because you have the same passion, and we met over the world many, many different times. So you know exactly. And I know and I saw you started, and I saw you in Vegas with the big boys, and I remember you, and all of this, and you can only be proud of what you've achieved so far. It's amazing. I appreciate even more that you are trying to define it, because it's what we need. So it will be no more swimming around. We're going in that direction. So the last minutes I have, I will say to you, if you know how I can organize a competition or a demo in Royals for the finals without having to feel that I'm trying to be someone else just for Flair. So there is no NICOLAS is there. I want to give something to Flair. If you want it, I don't want to do it on the wrong scene. Right.
Would it only be at the Roadhouse? Because I think that's going to be the most difficult place to do it.
No, it doesn't have to be at the Roadhouse, but it will be dark in the Roadhouse.
It'll be.
The good thing is just a presentation, a door that we haven't looked in. And I want to show people this door with all the humidity possible. Tell them, look, I do believe for freestyle Flair, this is where you should go now.
Well, I think on that, let's stop it there. And I want to say thank you to you for doing this.
Welcome. Always.
We've needed a conversation for a while, and after Paris, I wanted to have another chat with you, and I think it's great.
Are you still a vegetarian?
No, not at all. but
I want to have some snacks. I'm in Paris at the terrace. I'm gonna have some snacks. No, I'm vegetarian. I don't. It was a long process. Now I am.
But not anymore. But this has been really good, and I thank you to everybody who's been commenting. I've been trying to read your comments. I've been trying to react to them, but obviously we were deep in conversation. Nicolas, are you okay for me to leave this online for people to look at?
Sorry?
Are you okay for me to leave these videos online for people to watch back? Amazing. So I think the first one is already on Instagram TV. I'll put this one on Instagram TV. If I can download them and send them to you if you want them as well, that'd be great. And guys, thank you to everybody. We fluctuated at around 50 viewers the whole way, which is amazing. And Nicolas, thank you very much. I'm going to leave the last words to you, and then we finish it off. What's your last message to the people?
Only the purest will survive this coronavirus. And by the purest, I mean the more passionate. Don't be, my message on a very down to earth level for everybody else. I would say if you love flaring, and if you find it extremely hard right now to flare and to understand where you're going with Flair, even before going into a very deep conversation about what formula would work better for Flair, do anything you have to do to earn your living. If it's to be delivering pizza or anything, just go for it. Nobody can take your passion away. So if you do this in the future, when after the crisis, everything will go back to normal. There's no shame if doing something that makes you live. And if you can live from your passion, it's always a bonus. Just keep going, do what you have to do. We're all with you. And you can always watch us online. We'll be there. Take care.
Amazing. See you later, man. All the best.
Thanks, man. You too.
Bye, guys.